Shalom, my name is Jonathan Rynhold, and I originally come from London in England, where I was born. My grandfather immigrated to England from Germany in the 1930s. He had been a judge, and when he came to England, he became a rabbi. Part of what drew me to Israel is the fact that when I was a kid coming home from school, I didn't like having to look over my shoulder and worry about whether some skinheads were looking for a fight. The other thing that drew me to Israel was that Israel is the center of Jewish life. It is vibrant. It is an exciting place for anyone who's Jewish. We live in Modi'in, which is a city halfway between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. It was founded 25 years ago, and about 100,000 people live here. But although it's very new, it's also very old. It is the site of the beginning of the Jewish rebellion against the Seleucid Empire, which we celebrate the victory of the Jews over the empire on Hanukkah. That is what Hanukkah is all about. And so Hanukkah actually began here in Modi'in. We're members of what's called an Orthodox egalitarian religious community, and our synagogue's called Darchei Noam, the ways of peace. And it's Orthodox in that men and women sit separately. And it's egalitarian because women take a leading part in the service, including on the holiest day of the year, Yom Kippur. Much of my research has focused on Israel's relations with the Palestinians and the peace process. And when we first arrived here in 1998, we were very hopeful that perhaps we were on the edge of reaching a peaceful conclusion to the conflict. Indeed, myself and Elise, my wife, we were involved politically, and Elise was actually a candidate for the Labour Party here in Israel. But unfortunately, the peace process collapsed in 2000 with the outbreak of the Second Intifada. And there was a spate of suicide bombings, and one of our neighbours was murdered in a bombing which took place in the Sparrow Pizza Parlour in the centre of Jerusalem. Peace was not close at hand, and subsequent events have only confirmed that, both because of the spread of radical Islam throughout the Middle East, and because even a moderate Palestinian leader like Abbas refused to negotiate on the basis of plan put forward by President Obama and President Bush before him. So my fear is that in the absence of a peace agreement, that the expansion of Jewish settlements throughout the West Bank will lead to a one-state reality. Notice I say reality and not solution, because there is no one-state solution. Because we will not live together peacefully. It will massively increase the threat of ethnic conflict and massively threaten the fabric of Israeli democracy. My hope is that it is still possible, despite this, to put us on the pathway to a two-state solution. And one of the things I've written about recently is the improvement in Israel's relations with the Gulf countries, such as the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. And the reason for this cooperation is strategic. It's against the common threat posed by Iran. But it's my hope that this could spill over into a broader relationship, and that in a sense that an offer of expanding relations with Israel coming from the Gulf states could act as an incentive to Israelis to take steps that would move us on the ground, tip the reality in the direction of a two-state solution. For example, by encouraging Israel to expand Palestinian civilian control to more areas of the West Bank without any security threat posed to Israel. And that will pivot the situation on the ground so that we will be moving towards a two-state solution, and that at some point in the future we will be able to complete the process through an actual agreement.